When the news broke out about Charlie Kirk's assassination, the world was stunned. But what if the truth isn't what's being reported? What if the real reason Kirk was silenced had nothing to do with politics as usual, and everything to do with the one subject no one dares touch? Because some believe Kirk crossed a line that very few in his position ever cross. And once you cross it, there's no coming back. They'll tell you he was controversial. They'll tell you he made enemies. But here's the part they won't say out loud. Kirk had started to rethink his unconditional support for Israel. And for many, that's not just a policy debate, that's a death sentence. You see, you can rail against the left, the right, the Fed, or even the president. But once you begin to question Zionist influence, history shows us you don't last long in the spotlight. Think about it. Politicians, celebrities, even journalists who dared to speak out. They were smeared, canceled, silenced. Some lost their careers overnight, and a few, they lost much more than that. Charlie Kirk was no exception. For years, he was seen as a loyal supporter of Israel. He spoke their language, aligned with their policies, and stood shoulder to shoulder with their allies. But then something changed. Sources close to him claimed he began to question the cost of that loyalty. He started asking the kinds of questions that make powerful people uncomfortable. And when someone with Kirk's platform begins to rethink his position, that's when alarm bells start ringing in the shadows. But here's the chilling part. His shift wasn't public enough for most people to notice, which begs the question, who did notice? Because once word spreads in those circles, it doesn't matter if you whispered or shouted. The fact that you dared to step off the script makes you a threat. And threats are neutralized. We've seen this pattern before. Ask anyone who studied the influence of Zionist power structures in politics and media. The same story repeats again and again. Loyalty rewarded, dissent punished. And if you think that sounds dramatic, just ask yourself, why does every major figure tread so carefully around the subject? This isn't even new. Go back to the 1960s, President John F. Kennedy. JFK wasn't just another politician. He was a leader who openly clashed with Israel. He pushed back against their secret nuclear program at Dimona. He warned about the growing influence of the Zionist lobby in America. And he made it clear he wanted accountability and transparency. But those moves made him a target. Long suppressed documents and testimonies point to one chilling reality. Kennedy crossed the Zionist red line. And once he did, Dallas became his final chapter. Look at the parallels. A man in power, a platform to speak truth, a shift away from blind support of Israel, and suddenly gone. Official narratives, cover-ups, and questions that never get answered. Just like JFK, Charlie Kirk may have paid the ultimate price for daring to question the untouchable. The faces change, the decades pass, but the playbook stays the same. Kirk's assassination didn't just silence a man, it sent a message. A warning to anyone else who might think about questioning Israel's untouchable status. And yet, the official narrative doesn't add up. The timing, the motives, the coverage, all too neat, all too convenient. Like a cover story carefully stitched together to keep the real truth buried. But if you look closely, the seams begin to unravel. Why now? Why Kirk? Why in this way? The deeper you dig, the more it points back to the same conclusion. Kirk was beginning to change. He wasn't the same unquestioning supporter he once was. And in the eyes of the Zionist power brokers, that made him dangerous. Because loyalty is everything, and when loyalty cracks, even just a little, it can bring the whole house of cards tumbling down. Here's where it gets darker. If they can silence someone with Kirk's reach, Someone with that much influence, what chance do ordinary voices have? The answer is simple: none. Unless those voices rise together. Unless people start paying attention to the patterns hidden in plain sight. Because make no mistake, this wasn't random. It wasn't senseless. It was a warning shot across the bow. And yet, the media won't touch this angle. Politicians won't bring it up. Commentators won't go near it. Why? Because they all know the truth. Step out of line, and you'll end up just like Kirk. But here's the thing they didn't count on. They didn't count on people like you watching this video, asking the same questions Kirk started to ask. They didn't count on us remembering. So was Charlie Kirk assassinated because he was beginning to rethink his loyalty to Israel? Because he was daring to question the power of Zionist influence? We may never get the official answer, but the timing, the silence, and the patterns of history, from JFK to Kirk, all point in one chilling direction. And if that's true, then his final act wasn't just about politics. It was about showing us exactly where the red line lies and who draws it. If you're ready to hear more truths they don't want you to hear, then like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Because remember, you're either the lion or the sheep.